Intensity by Sean O'Loughlin is an excellent contest piece. According to Carl Fisher, it's a grade 1.5, but for us here in Texas, but at least on the Texas PML, they rounded up to a 2. And that makes this a really good piece for like a 2C, 3C middle school group. And if you look at the spectrum of all the grade 2s out there, Intensity is definitely one of the more easy pieces to teach to a younger orchestra or an orchestra maybe with less experience. Intensity is completely diatonic. There are no accidentals, and it primarily uses major or 2-3 fingering patterns. There are a couple of instances of low 2s in first violins, cellos, and basses, but they're used very sparingly. In this work, scale degree 6 is highly conserved, so you get it a few times in first violins, I think like 4 times, and then like once in the cello bass part over here in measure 37. Now, in the basses, you get the C naturals on the A string here, and then the A string here for the cellos when it goes up an octave higher. This is also one of the few pieces in the repertory for this grade level that does not have an obligatory pizzicato section. And that's going to make it easier to teach too, because pizzicato is very hard. There are some notes on the E string. There's not too many of them, but there are a few F sharps on the E string going up to scale degree 2. But again, it's used very sparingly. If you're an elementary, intermediate, or middle school level teacher, please don't program this piece of music for a non-contest situation, particularly if they can't go up to tempo. Now, the tempo for this is indicated at quarter note equals 144, vigorous. If they don't quite have the technique for that, please save that for another director or maybe another orchestra that you have with them, so that you don't take away just a really strategic contest piece from them. All right, if we look at the program notes here, they're more of a style guide than really an explanation of the piece. I guess it's kind of programmatic intensity. It should be kind of obvious what we're trying to do here. But there are some clues in here about how to make this work. We're told that this uses a marcato style. So in order to play marcato, we're going to have really good bow hands. You can use this piece as a teaching tool to try to develop those bow hands and encourage your students to do exercises in class and at home in order to develop the technique to get a really nice marcato sound. There's also a biographical section on Sean O'Loughlin here, and Sean O'Loughlin's a pretty big deal. He's done a lot in his career as a composer, conductor, and arranger. He's written music for the Boston Pops, the LA Philharmonic, the Atlanta Symphony, the Blue Man Group, and even Nickel Creek. Intensity has a lot of independent writing for low strings, so if you don't have a particularly strong low string section, or if you don't have a good balance of low strings to upper strings, this may not be the best piece for your orchestra. Intensity also uses a lot of dynamic contrasts, and that makes it tricky because the style does not change because the music gets softer. So the students have to really have good technique to make effective pianos. Otherwise, they just cut the piano out entirely, or they cut out the marcato style entirely. For most orchestras, though, intensity is going to be pretty doable. There are some things we're going to have to teach them. There's some challenges with the bowings, especially approaching long notes like the whole notes and the half notes. And in the next video, I'm going to give you my teaching strategies for how to do those effectively and sort of where to be in the bow to get a good marcato style while balancing the sustain notes. I hope to see you in the next video.